Hey guys, welcome back. I'm gonna finish setting this room up real quick and we'll get started shortly with the mentoring session. So, just links it up. All right, so I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in. Get this real quick. What is maximum contract? Nice. All right. All right, guys. So let's get a few more moments for people to keep making their way in. Um, so welcome back, guys. I'm glad to be back here in my office. It's just a lot nicer to trade here. I think it's a lot smoother. Screen's bigger. Today we only took one trade, which was the PRV entry. Looking over here at the charts, I don't see anything else coming up here or anything that did come up, but it's getting close to 8 o'clock and the ATR is super low. So I'm not really seeing too much going on here. Yeah. Drew said bang bang, profits gain. No, you killed it today, Drew. How much did you make today? Let's see. Drew did pretty good on his funded accounts. And 20,715, bro. That's crazy on your funded accounts. So this is kind of where I want everybody to get to, guys. I want you guys to get to Drew's level, right? Drew kind of he got on here. Well, he got onto Apex like a lot earlier with everybody than everybody else, and he got funded super quickly too. He was taking riskier trades to begin with, but it's okay because he had a game plan. Got funded on his accounts. Now he's all funded pretty much for the most part. So that's crazy, right? Right behind you, bro. Soon enough. Let me see where I'm currently at right now. So let me see where my main account is. My main account is currently at 156,000. So I just need a couple more wins to, let's do the math real quick. So I'm currently at 156, 164. Yeah, that's right. Minus 9,000, I think, right after profit goal. One thing. 156, 164, 80 minus 159. There you go. So I basically need like two more wins. I need two more wins and then I'll be funded on at least one of my accounts. The profits are kind of different because of the profits are just slightly different because of the slippage, but I basically need two more PRB entries and I'll be funded on at least two accounts and the rest will be trailing. So We'll see. We'll see. Soon enough, I'll be on there with you, Drew. But all right, guys. So if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. I don't think there's much to cover aside from this PRB entry. I'll give it a few more moments for people to make their way in, and then we'll cover this, more in detail. So let's just take a look at my spreadsheet over here. My spreadsheet's pretty straightforward, as you guys can see. I've only been taking the PRB entry every day. Obviously, there's other official entries that you can take, but for the most part, I'm just sticking to the PRB. I want to see how the win rate works for this strategy long term. And personally, I think it's just going to be more beneficial for all of us to kind of have this here anyways. So I'm probably have to make this a little bigger. I don't have my February one so short compared to the other ones. So, okay, I'll just copy this here. Or you know what I'll do? I'll just add some rows to it. That's pretty good. All right, so let's just take a look at the PRB entry, guys. So if there's anything else that you guys want me to cover, feel free to let me know. I know our mentoring sessions from last week were a little short, so if there's anything that you guys want me to cover from last week, just let me know. But I'll cover the PRB entry right here to show you guys exactly what we were looking for today. So let's go back to 6:30 over here. And with this right here, this is pretty much what I was looking for. So market opened right here at 6:30. You can't really see how the candle was moving, but this candle pretty much spiked up, came back down, and then it shot right back up, right? Because it shot up, came down, was a little red, and then it came right back up immediately on open. And that's kind of the pattern that I was looking for. I was looking for price to push up, come back down, and then shoot back up to show that price was continuing, in the direction of the trend, which was bullish here. So that was the first step that we were looking for, the first criteria, basically price to push up, come back down and push back up. This just shows that we had bullish power. So price pushed up, came down. You can use the pivots as a guideline to see the rejection, but a lot of these right here, you have to see real time because you have to see how the candle is actually moving. So price kind of pushed up, came back down, and then it pushed up from this point right back up. So that was the first step. For the space over here, if you guys remember, we were looking for space as price continued to go around. And this is the candle that I kind of look for the space. Obviously, it kind of dropped down a little bit last minute or last second per se. This kind of came up and then it was like, there was like a body right here with like wicks on both sides, right? A small body. But what happened was at the last like 5 seconds, price came down. But I already solidified this as my space. So I already knew this was going to be space for me because there was a big wick on top. And initially there was a big wick on bottom when the candle was moving, but then it closed a little bit lower. So this is kind of where I saw space. And then this right here, I think was the confirmation of retracement. So we had price push up, space right here, price went sideways, price retrace at this point. And then at this point now I was looking for the turnaround, right? I was looking for price to make its way back up. So I was looking for a green candle or a nice wick rejection off the bottom. And that's what I had right here. Both of these candles were kind of tricky. This one was tricky because this one dropped down at the last second. And this one was tricky as well because this one also dropped back down at the last second. Earlier, when this candle was still pending, it was like just a little wick. Like there was no body there. It was actually a green candle. But then at the last second, it came down. And this is where I already made my decision to take the trade. So using the confluences here, I looked back and I saw the bullish momentum. I knew price was going to keep pushing up. And I saw the trend meter down below is also green. So I knew the trend was bullish. And also we had the pivots over here that confirmed the bullish trend. So the pattern that we're typically looking for is something like this, right? We have the bullish trend, look for price to push up, come back down and continue. Overall, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for little confluences in between to identify where the entry actually happens. Because technically you could have entered somewhere above here, or you could have even waited and you could have even entered off this next candle right here, right? But for me, I like to get in at prime entry. So technically you could have entered right here, right before it, or you could have just waited and entered right here. Because either way, if you would have entered right here as well, I think you'd still be home free, right? It wouldn't really matter too much. But for me, I like to be very precise with my entry. So I actually got him down here. And you can see how price kind of came back down right here at this point. And then it pushes back up. I mean, you could have even probably gotten in right here. This is why the strategy is a little tricky because it's very discretionary, right? I can see some people would maybe take the entry on the second candle over here where price pushed up because it was a green candle, or people could have taken this and identified this as space because it was a big doji, and then just waited for this to push up right here, right, for another entry. So it's just really up to preference where you guys would like to take your entry. But for the most part, you could have taken it at any of these points, and I think it still would have hit your TP regardless. Yeah. So you can see right there, the TP would have gotten hit pretty much on the same candle, regardless of your entry. My entry happened right here off this red candle, but I could see some people may be waiting for this doji to happen right here because they're looking for a clean space entry or a clean space movement and this big green candle here to push up. But at that point, you'd be super far out. Right? You'd be kind of late because my entry was way down here. You could have entered here, but you would have given away like 8 points already. And then if you wanted to enter up here, you would have given up 20 points already. At that point, we would have already been at our TP and you would barely be getting into your position. So it's super simple and super straightforward, but this is pretty much the entry that we took for the PRB. So if there's any questions regarding this, guys, today was a little bit of a messier PRB because of the low volatility in the candles, but it still played out perfect and we had perfect entry here. I got in at the earliest time possible and we didn't delay too long for the entry. We'll see. Question from Henry. Henry's asking, was that was a V3 continuation just played out? Let me check. Yes. So Henry, right here, if you're just applying the V3 continuation, the breakout V3 continuation by itself, this would have been the entry here because there was a buy signal and a green candle following it. So this here would have been a breakout V3 continuation. It's not one that I would personally take because there was no confluence here. For me, I want those A+ entries, right? Like for this right here, I'd probably consider this maybe like an A entry because everything kind of lines up. We have a bullish trend with the pivots, bullish trend with the trend meter. There's no sessions or red flags up here. So this here would still be a pretty decent entry in my opinion. However, it's not an A+ setup in my eyes because for me, I want to see a reversal pattern right here. And the reversal pattern did happen because it came back down. You can see how price came up, came back down, and then rejected directly off the sessions for the fake out and came back up for continuation. But for me personally, in order for me to have like the exact entry that I'm looking for, I would have needed a double body or a double wick right here off this low. Pretty much what happened right here, right? I would need this, but right here. And since we didn't have that, I wouldn't consider this an A+ entry and I would have skipped it myself personally. But if you just want to apply the strategy by itself, this right here would have still worked out and it still would have been a breakout V3 continuation. So it's just up to preference. Everybody's kind of slightly different how they want to take the trades. Some people want to take riskier trades. Some people don't. For me personally, I've been trading for so long that I try to stick to the low hanging fruit, right? I only take the stuff that I know is for sure going to hit because my main goal is to be profitable. I don't care about stacking extra profits because I'm not here to profit. I'm here to win. That's really what my goal is. Every time I trade, my goal every day is to win. I don't really care about the profits because the profits are automatic. But if you want to take a more riskier trade like this, well, I wouldn't really consider this risky. I would just consider it not an A+, but it is a setup. So it lined up just like how it should have. But also the volatility was super low. So I probably wouldn't even have bothered to look at the charts. Volatility is currently at 7 ATR, which is extremely low. Yeah, it looks like if you didn't get closed out right here, you'd probably be holding on to the position for a couple minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7 minutes right here before it actually broke through it. Just because the volatility was just a little too low. But I mean, it's all good. So yeah, that was an entry right there. Henry. Scrolling down, let's see. Eunice has a question here. See what he's asking. So Eunice said that red candle where we entered, you said there was an entry if the candle closes green or if it closes with a big wick on the bottom. So it confused me because we took the entry, but there was no green candle or no big wick on the bottom. Yeah. So let me go back over there real quick. So the entry that we took over here, guys. So if you guys, it's hard for me to show you guys real time because you guys can't see how the candles were actually moving during the live session. But like this candle right here, I was gonna identify this as space. This body was like a lot smaller. It was like maybe like that size, right? That's where the body was. And then at the last second, it came down and it closed with a smaller wick on the bottom. So for me, my analysis here, if this would have closed how it was supposed to, this would have been the space, which I still considered it space because I was already looking at it. That's why I was saying that the strategy is a little discretionary because once I see a pattern on the chart, I don't really wait for the candles to close all the time. Once I see the pattern and it kind of flatlines right there, I'm like, okay, this is how the candle is going to close, but sometimes it gets manipulated and it gets pushed down at the very last second. So initially this red candle was like this big and there was a big wick on the bottom and a big wick on top. But like at the last 3 to 5 seconds, this thing spiked down, but I was already set as considering this space, right? The strategy is it's kind of tricky because you have to base it off like the actual candle movement and not the candle close. Because like if you weren't on the live session today, you wouldn't be able to know that, right? Because this candle would have looked like this and there's no way you could have identified a pattern off it. Same with this one right here, the entry candle. When we first identified it as a possible entry, this was like a doji, right? The body was like this small. It was like a doji and then it was pushing green and it was also coming back down. And then this right here, at the very last second, it came down again. It was because of the spiky candles like on open. So like on open right here, you guys remember the 630 candle looked huge. This thing spiked up, came back down, spiked up, came back down. Same with this candle right here. This one spiked up, came back down, spiked up, came back down, and it spiked up and it closed as a big green candle. And then this one again, same thing, spiky candles. And that's why I just went with this here because I already knew this was the entry point. But going back to what I was saying earlier, you could have entered on this next candle right here if you wanted to. Like if you really, really wanted to be safe about it, you could have waited for this candle here to close. But for me personally, when I feel that the entry is supposed to be at a specific point, I just enter right away. I go off intuition because I already know that this is where I want it to enter at. So it kind of just depends on how you saw the candle of the chart. But I'm like eyeing this candle until it closes. And either way, if you entered right here or you entered right there, or even if you entered right here, because I can see a lot of people, maybe if you're looking for a doji, and this is why I don't want to call it a doji, I want to call it space, because this space over here was my space, but this could have been, again, space for somebody else if they're looking for a specific doji. It's not always going to be a doji though. So that could have been entry, my actual entry. This could have been the other entry. And then if you wanted to wait even longer, like if you were just like really, really slow with like identifying the entry, you could have even entered up here, right? Because you'd see the space and then you'd see, this big green candle right here. And if you wanted to enter at that point, which I would never recommend, this is like way too late for entry, you still would have the opportunity to reach your TP there because price finally does come up right here, comes up right there, and it blasts right through. So there's a lot of different entry points for this here, depending on who is analyzing it. But for me personally, because I was watching these candles live, I saw the specific patterns that I was looking for. And that's why I got in at the very prime entry right here at the very bottom. So it's just kind of, you can't think too much when the entry is coming up. You have to just take it right away. And I knew the entry was there and I mentioned, okay, this is where I'm going to take my entry. And that's where I entered from. It's just the candles were spiking at the very last second. And it happens sometimes. It was kind of unusual because the volatility was so low and it was just spiking all over the place. But that's pretty much where I identified my entry at. So I think moving forward, once we start to see these patterns more and more, I'll be able to come up with better names for what we're looking for. But you guys can, for now, use the pivots as, I guess, an area of rejection. It's not necessary, but it does help. Because like, for example, here, if you waited at this point, this would have been a double body as well. Looks like it was a V1 pattern. Yeah, V1 pattern right there for a double body rejection. This would have been an even better confluence for entry at that point right there. Because you would have bullish momentum, bullish trend meter, V1 variation, And then at this point, you already know price is going to push up. And that's literally what happened right there. Yeah, exactly what Nicholas said. So Nicholas said, I was talking about it a minute ago. I said that the candle had a big wick up until 5 seconds to close, and then I already made up my mind on entering. That's why I entered right away. So yeah, that's pretty much how I would have done it. Yeah, Nicholas said I can put it to the 10-second chart. Yeah, let's go back and take a look real quick. Let's go back to this candle right here. I think we could even put it to like the 1-second chart if we really wanted to. So let's go over here. Let's go to the 10-second chart. So you can kind of see it here a little better, just like what Nicholas is mentioning. So let's just go over here real quick. So I'll break down the candles a little bit. Okay. So you can see that, so at this point right here, this is when the candle started coming down super heavy, because it came down super heavy and then it came back up. And you can kind of see how this green candle right here pushed up. It was basically going to close. So if you just measure this area right here, let's see. So this right here is the whole candle movement for the most part. So you can see that this is like the entire candle. The candle was supposed to close like around the middle point, and you'd have a big wick on top and a big wick on bottom. So 634. Okay, let me go over here a little bit. Gotcha. There we go. Yeah, so you guys can see right here so this is the size of the candle, the entire candle. You can see how price pushed up right here. Then it kind of sat right here. This is where I made my decision that I was going to take the entry because it was sitting around the middle point. And then right here at the very last, like say, yeah, the very last like 4 seconds or whatever, or 5 seconds, it ended up coming down super hard. But at this point right here, I already made my decision. I'm like, okay, this is a space, right? And that's kind of where I took my entry. Going back to the 1-minute chart, let's see if I go over here real quick. Okay, and this is where the entry actually happened at 634 candle. Yeah, and then this is where my actual entry happened. So at the 634 candle right here. So this is the body of the candle. You can see that this right here was actually closing with the big wick. So you can see how price came down. It established the wick right here and it was up. And at the very last like 10 seconds, price came down and then it closed down here. So you can kind of see, but it's a little hard to really confirm, right? But yeah, I mean, it's easier to see real time. So if you just watch it real time, if you guys want to go back and review the live session, you guys can see my analysis, but you can see that the candle did spike down at the very last second. That's pretty much where I made my entry at that point. And Eunice said still entered as soon as Sean entered. So he still took in at the same time. And yeah, everyone hit their TP, which was great. Let's see. Drew said that he put a limit order at the nearest 10 below the entry candle, and he got prime entry. Yeah, so looks like Drew over here actually got in a little lower. So entry was right here at 728. He probably got in around like 727, like right below it. So when it spiked down, it actually filled his entry. And then he got in for prime entry, like exactly where it was supposed to be, and it shot right up to his TP. So nice work right there, Drew. Yeah. All right, guys. So if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If there's any questions regarding the spreadsheet, I think all of you guys have it down pretty good. It's good to see a lot of it's good to see a lot of you guys here staying consistent. So, and I like to see that you guys have notes here as well. So looking over here, this is Eunice's profit. So Eunice has about 8 wins, only 2 losses for the or 3 losses actually. So about 8 wins, 2 losses for the month of February so far. Total profit of 1,850. Total trades of 11 trades with a win-loss ratio of 72.7%. So nice work right there, Eunice, with the consistency. Song over here missed the PRB for today, unfortunately, but he's still doing pretty good. He has three wins and one loss over here. Win-loss ratio is about 60%, which is not bad. We have Cam over here. He has total wins of 14 wins, 5 losses, total profit of 7,500, total trades of 19 trades, and a win-loss ratio of 73%. So I think the main goal here, guys, is to keep your win-loss ratio pretty high, at least decently high, right? You want to have it at about like 70. Well, if you're only taking the PRB entry, then of course, pretty high. But overall, if you're taking other entries as well, you want to have about like 70 to 90% win rate. Because if you have that and you're trading a mixture of a 1-to-1 plus, a 1-to-3, like we're normally doing, or 3-to-1, you should be in profit by the end of the week and by the end of the month, regardless of the fact. So I'm glad to see everybody here doing everything properly. Maddie over here as well, 9 wins, 3 losses, 81% win-loss ratio. Maria over here, she has 4 wins, 1 loss. She probably has a pretty good win-loss ratio right there as well, above 70. Nikki over here as well, same thing. 5 wins, 2 losses, above a 50% win-loss ratio. So if you just focus on winning and you have those wins that keep stacking up, eventually you're going to be at a profit by the end of the month. So if there's any other questions regarding this, guys, let me know. If you guys are having trouble with your spreadsheet, let me know. But I think this is going to help you guys a lot because you guys are going to be able to look back at like where you're making mistakes, how many strategies you're taking. It's fine to take whatever strategies you guys want, but I'm going to be the example and I'm only going to take the PRB for the next month or so that you guys can see, even with just one strategy, you guys should be able to find profitability, just rinse and repeating the process, day after day. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the Zoom chat. If there's anything else you guys need help with, Apex, setting up your charts, logging anything, just, feel free to pop in. Looking at the chart right now, I'm seeing a big spike to the upside. It seems like the volatility picks up a little more after 8 o'clock, but then it dies down. So for example, right here, we would have gotten off this live session at 8. And then as soon as it would have gone off, the volatility would have picked up right here. But I think it's going to die down again. It's currently pushing up into the 4-hour resistance, as you guys can see here. And then it'll probably eventually just kind of flatten out a bit, come right back down. But all right, guys, I think that's it. I'm kind of glad that we have everything in order now. So you guys can see these sessions don't have to go on for very long. We just got to hop on real quick, cover the trades that we did for the day, answer any questions. And if there's anything else, then we can, cover them here as well. Let's see, Medusa, there's low impact news at 8 o'clock. Not sure if that's why price started moving. Let's check the calendar real quick. So let's see what the news was at 8 o'clock. It was pretty much flat. I think, yeah, so we just had that a few minutes ago. I don't think this necessarily pushed price up, but I think this caused a lot of the volatility. Like I think a lot of people just wanted to push price up because it was kind of stuck within this area. So I think a lot of the institutions were just waiting for the news to come out, and then they just use that as an excuse to push price up. And then now it's just going to sit here for a while. Probably until Kashkari speaks at 10 o'clock. So we have a Fed member, Kashkari, speaking in about 2 hours. So when he speaks, I'm assuming, so just looking at the news looks like inflation rate is going up a little bit, slightly, not a lot, but slightly. So I think they might be propping up the market before it comes back down tomorrow when the inflation news comes out. Right? I mean, I guess it kind of just depends. So CPI data here is supposed to be a little bit higher. The inflation rate is supposed to go down overall for year over year. Month over month is pretty much flat. So inflation is technically supposed to go down year over year, but we'll see if that is the case. It's not always the case, and it might actually be a bit higher. So we'll see how this ends up playing out tomorrow. Let's see, question from Ross. So Ross is asking, as I look over the sheets, most everyone has the amount they made or lost in dollar form on column G. Let me check real quick. Um, yeah, let me see. Yeah, if your guys' formula is messed up, just let me know and I can help you guys fix it. Yeah, that's where my profit is too, Ross. Um, so my profit, well, it looks like, let's see. For Nathan's, his is right here in G. He has one, two, three, four wins, two losses, solid, 66% win rate. I do over here. Let's see. Yeah, I can't see the column for everybody. But yeah, if you guys have an issue with your spreadsheet, like the column number is off. Yeah, G is where mine's at too. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So Ross said you're using pips, points, we're using dollars. Cam set his to dollar amount by choice. Yeah, so you guys can set it to however you guys like. Like I said before, guys, I don't really care about the profits as much. So you guys can set it to dollar amount if you like. But for me personally, I like leaving it at points because I don't really care about the profit. I know the profit's there because I can just do the math, right? Like for example, last month I made 140 in points. So 5 times 140, or no, that's not right. Oh, but per account. So 5 times yeah, that's right. 5 times 140. But I did like um 12 contracts, so it's about 8,400. So I just set mine at points because I don't really care about the dollar amount. The dollar amounts, I know it's there. It's just I just like keeping it at points for me personally. So yeah, it's just up to you guys. If you guys want to set it to dollars, you guys can. I set mine to points. It's just easier for me to follow the whole number all the time. Um, but yeah, if you guys want to change the formula, each point is worth $5. So you can do total points. You probably would have to, so in order to set up that formula, you might have to make another column because you'd have to add this up like points, and then your formula would be times 5, which is what each point is worth. And then if you want to calculate it as your contracts, or you can just do it. I'd like to do it by hand. It's just a lot easier. So the formula is the points, which is 140 times each worth of each point is $5, and then times your contract size. So if you're doing a 15 contract, you'll make 10,000. That'd be 10,000 profit per account. Or if you're using a 10 contract, so 140 times 5 times 10, it's 7,000. Not super difficult. And I can probably give you guys those formulas if you guys need them. But yeah, it's just up to preference. All right, guys. So if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat if you guys have questions about Apex or anything like that. I'm okay with answering Apex questions here. So this is a safe space for you guys. If you guys have questions about Apex or any of that stuff, I'll help you guys out. But it's just, the general live session group. It's just there's too many people and there's too many questions being asked, or we don't want to do that during the live. So if you guys have any questions here with regard to setting up anything that you guys are confused about, just let me know and I'll help you guys through it. I know it's a little difficult the first time around, but once you get your Apex set up the first time, it's pretty much straightforward. There's like nothing that should really confuse you, unless it's something I haven't run into myself yet. Make sure there's no questions here before we get off. So Amal said that the space was more evident on the 30-second chart. So let's see over here real quick. Oh yeah, it's super obvious right here. So you can see over here on the 30-second chart, price came up and then it just came down super heavy at the very end, which makes sense. Thanks, Bimal, for the heads up on that. Joshua took the PRB on his sim account by mistake in NinjaTrader and not Apex, but it's all good. So Joshua over here, unfortunately, missed the trade, but he has a 100% win-loss ratio right now on his his spreadsheet. Yeah, guys, just make sure when you guys open up your NinjaTrader that you guys have it set to your actual account, not the the SIM. I keep my SIM at the very bottom. So that's why I don't have it on there specifically. Here, let me scroll up real quick. Let's see. Ross said when I get on Ninja, it's not pulling live data. So did you sign the contract through Tradeovate, Ross? You have to go through Tradeovate first, sign the contract, confirm that you're not a professional trader, and then once you so go to trade.tradeovate or just go to the Tradeovate website, trade.tradeovate.com. Log into Tradeovate. It's going to have you sign this contract. Once you sign the contract, it's going to give you live data. So just make sure that because the process is you have to go to Tradeovate first, sign the contracts, just make sure that everything's filled out properly. Put that you're not a professional trader, and then after a few moments, you can log out, log back in, and then it'll have live data. And then once you log into your Ninja Trader, it'll have the live data there too. You just have to enable it first. Let me scroll down real quick. Or you might have to roll over your data. Yeah, you have to make sure that your data rolls over to the next month. That might be the case too. Thanks, Ryan, for the heads up on that. Maria's asking, someone non-US citizen can help me set up the international payments. So there's directions on there, Maria. If you've I don't know anyone here is there anybody here that has set their payments to international? I know Maria's like South America. So it's I know there's a different process for it, but let me see if I can pull it up on here on the FAQs. So I did see, okay, payment information. Type in international. Yeah, so there's directions right here. Maria, I'll post it in the Zoom. Let's see. Here, I'll try to read this and see what the case is here. So you click on this right here, Maria, the change payout method, because I don't know what to do for it international. So let's see. See where you did it. So what's the problem with setting it up? So I can kind of like troubleshoot with you. Because if I click on it, it's not going to show me anything different. I don't know if it's the same thing as yours, but it's pretty much going to be the same. Let me see over here. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so it says, but shows you a U.S. citizen request. Let's see how non-U.S. accounts are. So were you able to choose it to WISE? Because it says right here, if you can't use WISE, then you'd have to select international. I just don't know exactly because it's not going to show up on my end. I think you should probably just email them, Maria, because they're pretty quick with. You remind me as if you like to close your Facebook account. So hi. Um, yeah, I'm not sure personally because it's not going to give me the option here because I already selected my US one. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, just submit a request and they should get back to you soon. Just tell them that there's an issue because I know their website is kind of clunky, so they might the option just might not be there to switch it. So yeah, just post a request, Maria, and then I'll try to help you any further. I'll see if there's anybody in the group who is international and is getting payouts. I think maybe Eunice. I don't know if Eunice is here. Yeah, Eunice, are you doing international on yours? And have you gotten your payout? Because I'm not sure who's here that's international and who has already gotten their payout. Eunice is the only person I can think of that's in this group that's international and probably has gotten a payout already. Most majority of us here are from the US. Hey, what's up, Maddie? Not much. We covered the PRB entry for today, and we're just going to be answering whatever questions are left before we wrap it up. Let me scroll up real quick. Shannon's asking the indicators, are they set at default? Yeah, all the indicators are set at default. The only difference here is the trend meter. So the trend meter at default shows your it'll be set to intraday settings. So if you have it set to intraday and swing trading, it's going to be like blue the entire time. So the only thing you really change here is you change this to chart. The trend meter is not really necessary, but I use that as an extra confluence. So you just set this all to chart, and then it'll give you the specific trend for that specific time frame. Other than that, that's pretty much it. For the pivots here, the default colors are just slightly different. So you can see this yellow pivot is just blue, level 2. So I just changed it to blue there because it was just easier for me to see and everyone else to see as well. That's the only difference I changed there. Other than that, everything else here is pretty much default. For the trailing stop, if you want your ATR settings down there, the default settings has it turned on, but I just turned off this here, the trailing stop and the short stop. And then for the ATR, I put it at the bottom. I think by default it's at top right, which is like right there, but it's hard for people to see on the live session. So I just put it at the bottom center. And that's pretty much all that I've changed for the most part with regard to the settings there. Let's see, Nicholas is asking, or gosh, yeah, thanks for answering that right there, Nicholas. Medu's asking, have you been to Boca Raton? Boca Raton? No, I haven't. I've been wanting to go to Miami, but I just haven't gone there yet. I think I'm going there this summer for like a bachelor party, not Boca Raton, but Miami in general. So no, I've never been there, but definitely do plan on visiting at some point. I thought about moving to Miami for a while, but California is like hard to beat. Like I know in Miami it's always raining, it's like random weather, and it's super hot and humid. Over here it's just perfect. So I don't think I'd ever move there, but definitely would like to check it out at some point. Let's see. Ross is asking, how do you roll the data over to the next month? Usually it's automatic. You don't have to do anything, Ross. So back then, did you have live data or have you never had live data? Because if you've never had live data, I think you just have to sign the contracts on Tradeovate. That's how you'd fix it. You don't really have to roll it over. You just have to make sure that you're on the proper symbol. Okay, so that might be the case. So if you're on the wrong symbol, I think that's your problem, Ross. So make sure that you're on YMH4. So that's how you roll over contracts. You wouldn't roll over the data, but you roll over the contracts. If you're on, you might be on the wrong symbol. So make sure that you're on YMH4 and it'll, or on NinjaTrader, it's like YM March. So make sure you're on the March contract, March 2024. And that should fix your data. I think you might be on the wrong symbol. Yeah, exactly. Man, it doesn't get any better than LA. Yeah. Well, Orange County in general. LA, I don't know if I could do LA. It's too dirty out there. But yeah, Orange County is like, you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get the beaches, you get the nice weather, you get the nice people. It's just a little different compared to, I don't think there's anything that can really compare to like this specific area where I'm currently living. This is where a lot of the West Coast, I guess traders live. Like Mamba FX, he lives like a block away from me, like not that far. Like basically, like you know how all the trading gurus live in like Boca Raton. Like a lot of the traders over here live on my side, like near me, kind of either here or in LA. So we're all kind of like in the same. It's like the same thing, just on the west side. So what's wrong with it, Ross? If you could send a screenshot, that could maybe help us better. I'm trying to figure. I just don't understand like what the problem is with your with your data? Like, where is it showing delayed data? Or if you could just, yeah, if you could take a screenshot to like show us where there's an issue, I can kind of troubleshoot with you. But the only thing I can think of is if your data is not, if you haven't signed the contract yet, because that's the only reason your data wouldn't be working. So yeah, if you can take a screenshot, Ross, I can help you with that. I'll see if like that's something that I can kind of troubleshoot for you. The only thing I can think of though is the contract. But if you've had live data before, then it shouldn't be an issue because it just rolls over automatically. So Natasha said, I want to visit Rancho Cucamonga. You definitely don't want to visit Rancho Cucamonga. Rancho Cucamonga is like, if you ever seen Next Friday, the movie, I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen Next Friday. That's Rancho Cucamonga. It's like big houses in the middle of nowhere. It's just a bunch of dirt. Yeah, it's you don't want to go to Rancho Cucamonga. There's nothing there. It's like that's where you'll see tumbleweaves and stuff. Okay, Ross, thanks for the screenshot. Let's see what your problem is here. All right, so um I mean it looks fine to me. Well, where does it show that the data is delayed, Ross? I'm trying to figure out where the data is delayed at because it looks just like mine. I mean, it looks fine to me. It's not moving. Here, let me log on to mine real quick. Did you try logging off and logging back in? It's weird that it's not moving for you. Unless you blew your account. I don't know how or why you blew your account though. Did you have any drawdown today, Ross? Or because the only other thing that I can think of is that your account is blown and they just kind of cut you off. Here, I'm logging into my Ninja Trader and see what I see on my end. Yeah, mine looks fine. I don't know what's up with yours. I've never even seen that happen to me before. Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of unusual. Oh yeah, so go to your like yeah, do what Nicholas said right there. Thanks, Nicholas. I didn't even think about that. So go to your control center and then see if there's green dots. See if you're go to connections and then click on My Ninja Trader and make sure that there's a green dot there. Because if there's no green dot, that means that there's no connection. So the control center is going to be that box where it shows all of your accounts. Because I've never seen that issue happen before. I mean, mine's running fine right now. Log back in. I think if your dot is yellow, it's either in limbo. There you go. Yeah, so that fixed it. Yeah, I figured that was the case. Thanks, Nicholas. Smart thinking to look at the control center. You were probably just logged into your SIM account or a different account. All right, perfect. So we got Ross's issue situated right there. Gotcha. Yeah, I always make sure that because when I turn on my copier, I have to make sure they're logged on anyways. So that's the first thing I do. I always go to my control center and then after that I'll add on the accounts and then I'll put it through. All right, perfect. So we got that right there. Yeah, Nicholas said Florida taxes are better though. Yeah, no, for sure. Florida taxes are better, and I think they are. I'm not sure if they're a blue state or a red state, but I think you can carry your guns around over there too, or certain places. Like here in California, I carry my gun around with me everywhere, but you need to have a license for it. Like you need to have a permit. You need to have a conceal and carry permit. Red state, okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens this year with we'll see if Trump comes back into play. I think Trump will probably win. I'm not very political at all, but I think Trump will probably win. And it's going to be interesting for the market for us because the volatility is going to be high. So we can probably keep applying the PRB. We'll just have to adjust our TP stop loss to bigger TP stop losses. Yeah, no problem, Ross. I think I saw something over here. Oh yeah, Nicholas asked how was the wedding? The wedding was cool. The Arizona is just super cold. I could never live in Arizona. It was super freezing out there compared to here. It was weird because during the day it would be kind of warm and nice, and then as soon as the sun went down, it was freezing over there, like 40 degrees. So I definitely Arizona's cool, but I don't think it's a place that I'd like to live or really vacation to. I would just go there to visit family, but overall. I also don't like the Phoenix airport. I missed my flight actually yesterday because it took so long to get to the gate. Because yeah, their airport's not ideal. It's a big airport, but next time if I ever go there, I know I have to get there like 2 hours ahead just to get to my gate. I was sitting at the airport for like 6 hours yesterday just to fly out because I missed my morning flight. Yeah, Nicholas said I think he should win, but you can't underestimate the amount of people that hate him. Yeah, plus right now, there's a lot of stuff going on around the world, especially if like we're gonna start going to war or something like that, then I think people will be less likely to want to switch presidents if something happens with everything going on in Gaza and everything that's happening in the Middle East. And I don't know, it's the crazy time we live in right now. So we'll see. But all right, guys, I think that's it for this session. This is pretty much how the mentoring sessions will go. I think now that we've pretty much have a pretty good grasp on like what we're doing here, these sessions wouldn't last very long. We pretty much just get on, cover whatever entries you guys want to cover, answer any questions, help with Apex, help with your platforms. And that's pretty much it. We'll just rinse and repeat this process every day for the next couple of weeks. Um, it looks like everybody's doing good. So yeah, no, Natasha said she's doing good and happy. Yeah, no problem. I see a lot of you guys here doing really good. So I'm glad to see that you guys are staying consistent. If there's any problems with your trading, you guys need help, always feel free to reach out to me. That's what these sessions are meant for. I just want to make sure you guys are staying consistent and you guys are not falling off track. It's okay to make a mistake here and there, but for the most part, we just want to make sure that you guys stay on track with all of your trades. Nice work, William, over here. William has 7 wins, 2 losses, win-loss ratio of 77.8%. So it looks like majority of you guys are doing good. We've only had 2 losses so far. Ross over here with all wins for the month so far, so that's great. But yeah, for the most part, we've only had 2 official losses. Here's my spreadsheet. So for the month of January, we had a 93.3% win rate, 14 wins, 1 loss. For February so far, we have 5 wins, 2 losses. I'm just documenting the PRB entries. And as you guys can see, you can do perfectly fine with just 1 entry a day. If you guys want to take more, that's also fine. But for the most part, I'm going to set the example by sticking to 1 trade a day. So yeah, exactly. Nikki said mentally getting stronger. That's the key thing here, guys. It's just getting your trade psychology right so that you guys can stick to the game plan and just rinse and repeat the process every single day. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we'll be back here tomorrow for the next live session, and then we'll have the mentoring session right after, just like we did today. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live session. So, all right.